So we're ready for another installment of Kedushas Levi. Okay, so this is Parshat Toldot. This is for many years. This has been my favorite parsha. I don't know, something about Yaakov and Esav, and something about the winter, and something about the beginning of the new Zman. I don't know. It's like I don't know. I'm getting already in the Hanukkah vibe. I don't know. Something about Toldot was always something I very much connected with. So the Berdichever, it's fascinating. It's mamish fascinating to go through this every week. It's such a amazing exercise for me. Like I've never been through like the whole Sefer. It's always been just like little things here and there. And just like to go through this properly is very, very powerful. So the Torah starts Eda Toldot Yitzchak ben Avraham Halidat Yitzchak. These are the generations. These are the stories. These are the actions, so to speak, of Yitzchak, the son of Abraham. Abraham gave birth to Yitzchak. Okay, so the question is obviously that why does it say the same thing twice? Like why is it like that? What's the point of saying the same thing, that it was Yitzchak ben Avraham and Avraham gave birth to Yitzchak? So the first thing that the Berdichever wants us to know is like a sort of like nature and nurture kind of thing. That in terms of everybody wants to be a child of their fathers, like especially like we're just coming out of Hebron, right? So like I'm sure that when you're in Marat Machpelah, so like your deepest prayer is oh my gosh, I just want to be your like really your children. I want you to. There was like somebody once said like that I want it to be that when I go up to heaven that like they'll like my forefathers will recognize me. They'll say that that's not like, they won't say like who's that, right? So like when you go, like we want to show off to the Avot and Imahot that they're like, oh yes, my tire kid, like my dear child here, I was waiting for you. And like so we really want to be children. We want to, like, we're B'nai Yisrael. We're our whole essence is to be as much as we can like the real children of our fathers, you know. So he said a very interesting thing, that there's a difference between before we got the Torah and after we got the Torah. That after we got the Torah, so we are the children of our parents just because we are considered our we continue to be Jewish, so to speak. Just because our parents are Jewish, you don't need to do anything to be considered a descendant of your parents. So before we got the Torah, it wasn't like that. Before we got the Torah, so you weren't considered a next generation of your parents unless you followed in their ways. Okay, so that's why Ishmael is not considered the child of Abraham, even though his DNA was there, even though he was his father biologically. But it says Ki bi Yitzchak yikara l'chazar, that your Yitzchak is called your children, is called your descendants, and Ishmael is not considered your descendants. And the same thing with Esav. The Esav is not considered the descendants of Yitzchak. Is not considered the descendants of Abraham, because before we got the Torah, so you were only considered the descendants of your parents if you followed in their ways. If you were a tzaddik, okay, if your father was a tzaddik, so then you weren't considered a descendant of your parents. So he says that Eitzel ha'avot hishtashlut shelahem lo haya ken im yeh tzadik yeh nikra zer ha'av v'im lav ena nikra zer ha'av. So before we got the Torah, so you needed to be proactive in order to be a descendant of your forefathers, of your fathers, of the ones before you. So you needed to do something. You need to be really, really like on top of this. That I care. I care to be part of the family. There's not just you have to. You don't. If you don't live up to the family name, then you're not part of the family. That's not much the way it was before we got the Torah. That's not much that's what it was with the Avot. So that's why it says that Ve'ela Toldot Yitzchak ben Avraham. This is the word Toldot. Toldot means this is the story. This is the actions. This is the narrative of Yitzchak ben Avraham. That Yitzchak made this happen. Yitzchak, he could have messed up. He could have, with his bad decisions, not been a descendant of Avraham, but he didn't. He was proactive in being a tzaddik and following Hashem and following the path that his father had paved out for him, and he really chose to be part of his father's story, to be part of his father's lineage, to be part of this amazing family line that's going to bring the Jewish people, that's going to bring Mashiach. And then it says Avraham as Yitzchak, that once he did that, then it was coming from Avraham. Okay, so in this case, it's we talk about starting from nature and then nurture. With Yitzchak, it was the opposite. It started from the nurture, that he acted to be a son of Avraham, and after he chose to be a son of Avraham, then Avraham as Yitzchak. And then once he made the right decisions to be part of the family, to be part of this story, so then it became so much bigger. Okay? And this is something that is true in many areas of life. That it starts with our decisions, and once we make the right decisions, then there's something more powerful going on, more powerful than anything that we could have done. And this is the power of having this tradition behind us. That when we choose to be part of Kedusha, when we choose to be on the path of Hashem, so there's always this duality. So on the one hand, there's what we're doing, what we're putting on the table, and at the same time, that what's being just thrust upon us. Like there's, for example, so we have tefillot. We talked about last week about the different tefillot that Avraham made shacharit and Yitzchak made mincha. So with tefillah, so part of the tefillah is something that we do. Part of the tefillah is something that we choose. Part of the tefillah is something that we are. It's with our kavanah. It's with our attention. It's with our focus. We are making a connection with God. Okay, that's tefillah is something very. In fact, the highest tefillah is personal tefillah, something that you're not even saying the words that somebody else said before you. It's completely coming from you. Okay, this is a complete novelty, the tefillah that you're making. Okay, so yeah. So when a person makes this channel of connection, so what do you think? Do you think that then he's the one breaking through the heavens? No. Once he takes that first step, once he's able to create this space of tefillah, so then he's being accompanied by the thousands of years of tefillah that we've been breaking the heavens. That you need to find that channel that's going to be yours. But once you do it, you're not the first one speaking to God. You're not the first one. You're not inventing the wheel. So we're part of this amazing tradition that everything we do is coming with the energy, with the weight, with the zchut, with the merit of all the thousands of years before us. So everything we're doing is coming with such an amazing power, such an amazing potential. And if we would just like sit back and say, okay, so like I don't need to do anything, like it's been done already, I'll just like whatever. So that then nothing comes. But when we put in our effort, when we find our path, when we really find our space to connect with God in our way, so then we have behind us the weight of this amazing tradition. So this very it's like everything that you do is like it's quadrupled, it's quintupled, it's times 1,000. That if you take a step forward, so then it's much more powerful than anything that you could have done yourself. And this is what Chazal say that Pitchu li petach kechuda shel machat. Hashem says that open for me a hole the size of the eye of a needle. Eftach lecham petach kipischa shel ulam. And if you're able to open up that tiny hole like the eye of a needle, so Hashem says, I'll open for you like the whole, like the greatest ulam, like the greatest castle. And if you don't take the first step, like a person could say, like, okay, so if you're going to do it, so do it. Like, you don't need me. And Hashem says, no, I need to take that first step. Once you take that first step, so that is so meaningful to me that I'll do the rest for you. There's a metaphor that's brought down in the Rishonim that what we do in this generation is like a nanas agabe anak. It's like a midget on the shoulders of a giant. Because we're not creating the wheel, because we're not inventing this, because this is not the first time that people are trying to connect with God. So even the little things that we do have so much energy. Right? So it's been like when sometimes like you can really feel this. Sometimes you get into I felt this many times with a particular tefillah called the tefillat hashla. That there's a custom to say this before Rosh Chodesh Sivan. That you start reading the words. Again, there's also with the Likutei Tefillos of Reb Nassan also. You start reading these words, and just like I suddenly just get emotional. Like I was not in the zone. I was not feeling close to Hashem. I was not feeling connected, and I start saying these words, and then suddenly I get connected. Because I don't have to invent this. This is a powerful tefillah. This is really the koach of the Shemona Esrei. The koach of the Shemona Esrei is that Chazal imbued in the words of the tefillah such power. It was written by prophets. The Ashkenaz Gedolot was written by prophets. That they imbued in the words of the Shemona Esrei so much kavanah that it's like the way the Chazal described this is that they put so much amazing kavanot into the Shemona Esrei that no Jew, until the rest of history, that until the end of time, that no tefillah will go up to heaven the same way. That every tefillah will be, even though it's the same words, everyone is saying the exact same words, almost, but yet it's going to go up to heaven with different nuances, with different spiritual properties. That means that they imbued in these words, amazing, that almost infinite spiritual quality in these words of the Amidah. So this is the Avraham Holiday that when you choose to go in the path of your father, so then suddenly it becomes much more powerful than that. This is it's somewhat of a controversial thing, the concept of rebbes, the concept of having a tzaddik, that he's the leader of the kehillah because his father was the leader of the kehillah. Right? This is like so many people, I think, like especially not in the non-Hasidic world. So they make fun of that. Like, well, it just happens to be that every generation happens to be that the son is the son. So the truth is that there's something very, very special about the fact that when you come from such a lineage, that and you're going in their ways, so then you get the energy, you get the kedusha that you didn't even have to work for. It just comes. The same is true in the negative. That when there's a pasuk that like almost everybody that reads this pasuk like thinks it's weird. It says that Hashem is poked avon avot al banim, al bnei banim al shlishim v'arabim. That Hashem remembers the sins of the fathers and the children. and on the grandchildren, and the third generation, and the fourth generation. So it's true. They say that the Hashem is so good because when it comes to mitzvahs, it says Namtzah Chesed La'alafim. There's 2,000 generations. So Hashem is so awesome that He remembers the goodness for 2,000 generations, and for the sins, it's only 4 generations. But hold on a second. But why is He remembering the sins of our fathers at all? Hello, I didn't do it. Right? So you know how to ask this question. Rashi asks this question. Right? So Rashi says that it's talking about the Misha Machzik Min Hagavatav Biyadav. It's talking about a person that does the same mistakes as his father. He's doing the same mistakes as his father. So the question is, okay, so I get why if your father was a thief, so and you're following in his footsteps, so you're also a thief. So I get why Hashem is punishing you for being a thief, right? But why does Hashem punish you for your father's sins? What's up with that?
I still don't get either why God punishing you. Because can you really change something you're not aware of? Like your father's your whole world, in a sense. He teaches you the ways of the world.
Okay, that's a more general question about you. You want to know why there's punishment in the first place? Okay, we'll talk about that in a different time, maybe.
Yeah, there's tikkunim, no? I mean, these are the punishments because they're tikkuns. It's much more. It's a whole discussion. Why does Hashem do punishments in the first place? Right? You want to know that Hashem is so nice, so why does He need to do punishments in the first place? Right? Anyway, but whatever you have free will, you have free will. Whatever you don't have free will, you don't have free will. Anyway, but say I get why Hashem punishes you for making bad decisions, but why does He punish you for the sins of your parents? Right? So you see the same idea that when you're doing something bad and it's ingrained in your DNA that this is like the thing to do. So when you're doing it in a way that you're following in your father's footsteps, so it's actually even worse than if you would have done it the first time. Why? Because you're bringing down this energy that's becoming really constant, becoming very engraved into the world. That this is what we do. You're turning yourself into a family of theft. You're turning yourself into the fact that you decided to go in your father's footsteps. So you're making this like the next generation is going to say, it's like, oh my gosh, like if I would not be a thief, I would be like a disgrace to my family. And then the next generation, like they'll actually kill me if I actually decide not to steal. And this is the more that you're following, the more that you're deciding to go. Every generation is making this more engraved into the reality that this is what we do, as if it's like it's as if they're taking away the free will of their children. Like every time that you make this bad decision, so you're making it more a part of just who you are, so to speak. Which is really Shalom. Chaim. You better bring an opener. It's just.
I didn't bring one.
No, we have nothing.
What are we celebrating?
What are we celebrating? Because you weren't here on Sunday. We on Wednesday that we like to celebrate life.
Actually,
we look for excuses to celebrate life.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I made it.
I'm so happy with it.
I'm in my new place.
I was really doubting that you would make it.
Place doesn't suck. It's so nice. The shower is like, it's actually a shower. Like a nice thing. And
Okay, we're talking about a different time.
It's great. Oh my god.
There's 20,000 people listening to you right now. So.
Yeah, I'm happy I don't live in a hole. Thank you.
So the 20,000.
It's very easy to do here, by the way.
So
reality.
So what?
You're saying that someone who does this is corrupting reality.
So the person, when a person is following in the father's footsteps, so besides what they're doing, when it's the second generation, so they're making it even worse. You ever heard about these families that it's a third generation of being homeless, like third generation of just not going to school, third generation of being.
It's in their DNA. It's like telling a lion to switch his diet,
Right.
which is
So that's why those first generations that they're choosing, they're making
How's it going?
those first generations that are causing it to be in the DNA. It could be that that's why it's only 4 generations, because it could be that after 4 generations it could be that it's just too late. Then we no longer hold the 5th generation accountable, because that's like chas v'shalom, like that's just what he is. No,
After the 5th generation?
after the 4th generation.
After the 4th? And the 3rd can still know it's wrong? It's not that ingrained? I feel like after 2 generations it's pretty ingrained.
Oh, don't forget that they used to get married younger.
What?
They used to get married younger, so they could still talk to their great grandfather.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Can they feel it as well? And I don't know, I can't tap into it. Like when you describing before when you're doing tefillah, you're tapping into all of that energy. You feel like I feel like, wow, such righteousness, such amazingness that's going on in this inyan. It's crazy. I have no idea what's going on here, but like, wow, I'm in awe.
Can you feel what?
So can they feel
Who's
like the people who are stuck in this? The people who are stuck in this multi-generational trap, and they feel the same thing, that their wrong is like that big, meaning as like
I don't know.
you understand what I'm
I would imagine, yes, I would imagine that if they try to get out of it, and they probably do at some point, they probably feel that this weight, there's just difficulty in getting out, because it's just like, I don't know anything else. It's just I don't have any frame of references besides this. This is the only way that I know how to live.
Generational trauma?
Yeah. No, not generational trauma. Not generational trauma. A generational bad way of living. I think generational traumas like eventually die out. They don't go on
A better
forever.
word for it would be continuous cognitive dissonance. Which
Okay.
is people who can't relate between one another.
That's a lot of words.
Which means I'll use more words to understand better. So what I mean is like this. You know, the most famous prophecy of Eliyahu Navi coming to bring peace to the world once and for all is V'hishiv le'avot ha'banim u'banim al avot ha'ich. So the concept that there is a dissonance between the fathers and the children really represents that concept, I think, why we continue to not be able to live to our fullest, because we're not being really communicated to where we're holding. And then we're at a level where even individuals themselves are growing such uniqueness that it's difficult to really get to understand each other, even in the same generation.
Wow.
I think that's trauma is a word which we've been using a lot, and I think we need to use more words to better understand. You know?
Yeah.
It's more of a self-fulfilling prophecy that like because you're told that this is like the way things are done, then you feel that that's the default because you're not,
That's the way.
that's the default because you're not any better than what they've told you you're going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what makes it so hard. That's what makes it so hard. But and that's why when every decision that you make, so you're also bringing out the goodness of every good decision. You're bringing out the goodness of the decisions before you. Like that the Berdichever is saying on the side of kedusha, that when we bring out the holiness, when we bring out the goodness in the generations before us, so we're making that the default. We're making that the DNA of the people of the generations after us. So we're carrying this amazing weight of kedusha into the world. And it's a very amazing power that we have. That the fact that we change the world in this intergenerational kind of complex structure. So that's what it means. Toldot Yitzchak ben Avraham. Avraham Toldot is Yitzchak. That Yitzchak, he chose to go in the path of Avraham, and once he did that, so Avraham Toldot is Yitzchak. After he chose to do that, so then every step that he did wasn't just his own steps, but he was making it solidified. Now he was making it that, yeah, this is what we do. This is the next guy is already, it's even on a very simple level. I mean, it's really the same thing. It's really really the same thing as we. For some reasons, it's easier to understand it when it comes to bad behavior than good behavior.
That serendipitous generational keeping up on through Avera and Mitzvah.
Like when the first time that somebody does something good, so everybody laughs at him, and everybody says like, "Well, that's so crazy, that's so innovative." And like, if he's stark about it, if he's stubborn about it, so then he'll be able to get through. He'll be able to like get to the point that they'll stop laughing at him. You ever have this, like somebody's like singing a song and nobody's singing along, and if they're stubborn enough, they'll eventually people will sing along with them. And it's and you really see how stubborn they is. Some people are like, okay, if people didn't join me in the first 3 seconds, then I'm like, this isn't for me. Then I guess it was a bad song, right? But the people who just like, they have enough self-confidence that, yeah, I'm just gonna keep on doing this, and that if I'm not gonna stop singing until they join me. So then when you get to the second generation, so then it's already the norm. Then like, oh yeah, we heard that song. When you heard that song, you thought he was crazy. Yeah, but now it's already the second generation. Now it's already normal. Now it's already cool. Now it's already like the first generation already made the breakthrough, so the second generation is able to just, yeah, let's do that. So that's why when the second generation is making the right decisions, when you have this Toldot Yitzchak ben Avraham, so then it's really able to bring out a much deeper kedusha into the world. Okay, so this is like amazing responsibility, I think, in everything that we do, in every decision that we make, like to recognize the fact that when we are making decisions, whether it's good or bad, so we're becoming the descendants of our forefathers. Whether it's good or whether it's bad, so we're bringing their energy into the world as well. Okay, and that's why everything is so powerful. It's crazy, you have to.
So if you end up doing basically, you end up rectifying the many generations behind you.
Not sure what you're asking.
Like if you fall into it, but then do teshuvah, are you doing teshuvah for all the generations before you as well? Does that apply or no?
Did you say that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
Everything we choose, we will tell to our children.
In fact, it says that everything that a child does is a tikkun for the parents.
Well, it says that we're only living in exile for the sins of our grandparents. Oh yeah. It says you stand up before the Ashmas Avicim. The Ashmas Avicim.
Okay. On the other hand, it says that if we would do tshuva, so then we would not be in exile anymore.
That's the whole point. We're doing tshuva for them. They did an Avera, Meraglim did an Avera.
It's very humble of you.
Yeravim did an Avera, Rechavim did an Avera.
We'll do what we can do. We can all do. We'll all do tshuva for all of our ancestors.
Anything that we do, anything that we stumble upon in this generation is because we've been given a path that's crooked. They're stumbling. So when we take accountability, because we understand that they're one with us.
For the parents. So certainly, when they do a tikkun on the things that got messed over because of the parents.
How much more so if you're the youngest in your family? You have the greatest merit to be able to complete the whole family.
What if you're the oldest in your family?
Well, then you got to rely on your younger siblings.
All right. Now he says. Now he says that was his first. That's the first Torah in Kedushas Levi, this expression, and it's actually very interesting. A lot of times in many parshas, so he has like many different alternative explanations on one pasuk, and he usually says that you could say like this, or you could say like this, or you could say like this, or you could say like this, and over here he says something that I never saw before. He says the Nira Yoser, but I have another explanation that I think is better. I think this is the real explanation. The real explanation of what it means. Of what it means that Ela Toldot Yitzchak ben Avraham. So he says that Yitzchak, so according to Kabbalah, represents Gevura. Okay, it represents might, which means restraint.
Separation. A container for the milk spills on the floor. Separation.
The container for the milk. Okay, so that Avraham is chesed. Avraham is sharing. Avraham is connection. Avraham is love, and Yitzchak is Gevura. Yitzchak is tied up. Tzimtzum he's tying himself up. That I refuse to go. Like he isn't even allowed to go outside of Eretz Yisrael. He's very, very stay put. You don't separate yourself from God. Klum.
He was at the time seeking water. Yes, so he thought, we can think about his study, that was for the other generations that were studying, but they said that Abraham, he was very easy to make a friendship, and in fact was into studies.
Hold on. So it says that.
So they say that a lot of people left because they didn't know this part of Judaism, the followers of Abraham. But in fact, it's more profound.
Wow.
So it says like this, that the usually you think that Chesed and Chesed and Gevura are like two opposites, that they're two very, very different ways of relating to God. Like you have the people that are very into the connection, the people that are very into the rules, right? And like to the point that like the people that are into connection sometimes aren't into rules. The people that are into rules aren't into connection, and you can manage get into this like frame of mind that it's like that I have to choose. Like, do I want to feel connection, or do I want to go by the rules? Right? And so he says such a beautiful thing that there's the beginning of Gevura, the beginning of Yira, beginning of Yira is this tzimtzum, is this saying no, just saying no. So actually, I was talking about this in my class at Neve today. That I was once we're talking about Yira Shamayim, talking about the mitzvah to have Yira.
Oh.
So story that happened a couple of years ago. That I was walking in the street, and I was
Gets better. Wait, gets better.
walking in the street, and there's this like soldier that like was lost, and he asked me how do I get to the train. So I said, I'm going to the train, come with me. So we're walking together in the street, and so I guess I looked a little bit religious. So he decides that like he needs to start confessing to the priest, and so he's telling me like that you know, like I was like come from a religious family, and now like but like I stopped when I was like in 8th grade. But you should know, like it's not like I don't do anything. I do the mitzvot aseh. I just don't do the mitzvot lo taseh. Right? I do the positive mitzvot. Like I like saying Kiddush on Shabbos. I like lighting Hanukkah candles. I like doing Megillah, Leila Seder. I don't do the don'ts. Like, don't be on your phone on Shabbos. Don't touch girls. Don't speak lashon hara. Don't like I don't like the don'ts. I like the do's. I don't like the don'ts. Yeah, so that's what I do.
True that he's bacon or you eat bacon?
So what?
Was he into bacon?
Actually, he's living in Israel. It's hard to find bacon. But I do the do's. I don't like the don'ts. And I was thinking to myself, so like I wasn't sure what to say. So I said, don't worry. Hashem loves you. You're doing great. Just keep it up. It's not all or nothing. Everything you do is precious. Like whatever. Blah 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 blah. But
You're not right.
But
I can make that shit.
but I was wondering like what could I have said? Like what should I have said? Like I have right now 2 minutes. I have 2 minutes like until we got to the train. Like what could I have said? So I bumped into my Rabbi a couple of days later,
And I told him the story. And I said, what would you have said? What would you have told this precious soldier that likes to do the? I was thinking to myself, like I didn't tell my Rebbe this, but yeah, that's nice. You get all the nice stuff. You don't have to do all the bad stuff. He's like that. You get all the connection of all the mitzvahs without having any restraints. Like that's like mamish. Wow. Like so he told me that I should have told him that there is no area of life that you can be successful without having a whole list of mitzvot lo ta'aseh. Okay? That in any area of life, if you want to be successful, sorry?
Can you explain?
Of course I'm going to explain.
Non-Jewish place.
What?
Like in a non-religious sense.
So in any area of life, like let's say you're a musician, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you have mitzvot aseh, right? You have if you want to be a good musician, so you have to be focused, you have to be passionate, you have to be agile, you have to be able to move your fingers in the right way, you have to be able to be connected, you have to be creative, you have to be able to bring down, you have to feel it, you have to be like in the zone. Okay, there's a lot of mitzvot aseh, and there's also a lot of mitzvot lo ta'aseh. Okay, you do not buy a messed up instrument. Do not leave your instrument in the rain. Do not leave your instrument in this kind of temperature. Don't do this. Don't do this to your fingers, or else it will just mess you up. That you won't be able to play anything. Don't put your finger in the wrong angle. Don't put your finger in the wrong place.
Don't have a bad stage name.
Don't what?
Don't have a bad stage name.
Don't create
Don't have a bad stage name. Yes. Okay. So there's not and if you when you're trying to be successful, so like a person is going to ignore the mitzvot lo ta'aseh, so he's so full of creativity and so full of passion, and he's just struggling with all this, and like it sounds horrible.
It's
right?
like the guy that doesn't stop singing when no one's yelling.
No, that's no.
This is an unrelated matter.
Explain to you after.
Similar, but it doesn't work out point though. So for this case,
So if a person is not going to follow the mitzvot lo ta'aseh, so with all due respect to his passion and his creativity and his talent, but it's going to sound bad. Okay, the same is true in art. The same is true in relationships. The same is certainly in life itself. That you can't be successful in life itself without there being a whole list of mitzvot lo ta'aseh. That there has to be that it can't be that you can do the nice things and the sweet things, the holy things, and the good things, and there's nothing that you can't do. It can't be that just like in every area of life, if you allow yourself to do whatever you want, then it's going to come out lousy. So certainly life itself, if you allow yourself to do whatever you want, it's going to come out lousy. Okay, so this is the very basis of mitzvot lo ta'aseh, the mitzvah of Yireh Shamayim, the things that I'm just saying no, the things that I'm not allowing these things into my life, not allowing these things into my mode of operation. There's things that I don't do, there's things that I don't, there's places I don't go, there's people I don't talk to. Even if I used to be good friends with them, there's things I don't eat, there's things I don't listen to. Because these things put me into a bad place, because these things are holding me back from being the best me. Okay. So this is my mitzvot lo ta'aseh to okay. So this is now the thing is that at the beginning stages, so it's actually hard. When I to say no to something that feels like natural is difficult. Right, so that's the first stage of Gevura, where Gevura at the beginning stages is not fun. It might be rewarding, but it's not fun. It's not fun. But the Berdichever says that when a person does that enough, then he reaches a higher level of Gevura, and that is like this. Hayira, he made a sense of v'yesh od bechinas. When a person is becoming so, it's more than restraint. More than restraint is bittul, that I no longer exist.
It's easier actually. So that's easier than.
It's hard to get there. It's hard to get there. The only way to get there is through restraint, through not. Once I'm so good at not going freely, so I can reach a higher level of tzimtzum, a higher level of gevura, that I'm just batal. And this is something that you can with musicians, like if we're talking about musicians, like you can really see this. You can see a musician that is completely batal to the melody. In fact, there's a beautiful pasuk that refers to this. It says that when it says in Shema, when it refers to David HaMelech was playing. So it says Vayhi kenagen haminagen vati alav ruach Hashem. So in Svarim they're saying, what does it mean kenagen haminagen? That when the minagen is the musician, the minagen was nagen, when he became the melody. When the musician became the melody, vati alav ruach Hashem. Okay, that's bittul amtius. That is the person stops existing. Okay, that's kenagen haminagen. So the highest level of tzimtzum is that I'm not just restraining myself, I become so small that I don't exist anymore. And so what happens at that moment? At that moment,
you become so big you don't exist anymore.
I become so non-existent that I become everything. And that he says, and then once I'm non-existing, once I'm once I'm just completely negated to the melody, so then I feel connection. Then I feel love. Then I feel excitement. Then I feel passion. So that's what it means. That's what it means that Yitzchak ben Avraham, that you thought that Yitzchak was a new thing. You thought that Yitzchak was the complete opposite of Avraham. No. He was Yitzchak ben Avraham. He was getting to the same place as Avraham, but from a different place. He was getting it from the place, not from the place of connection, not from the place of sharing, from the place of presence, from the place of non-existence, from the place of just I'm completely batal. This is a very high level. It says that Rabbi Akiva would say, Imani kan hakol kan. If I'm here, everyone's here. Like I'm the only thing that matters. Like if I'm like now the party has started.
Shidduch Rebbe, I forgot who it was, said, I'll take your ani ala ani.
What does any mean?
In any kind, if I'm not here, hakol kan.
Interesting.
If I am not, then I am ani.
So I think we're saying the same thing. But Rabbi Akiva said, I didn't say that the point yet though. The imani kan hakol kan. So the Svarim say that Ani is actually one of the names of Hashem. Because we say on Hashanah, we say on Sukkot, Ani v'ho Hashiana. That Ani v'ho is names of Hashem. Mm-hmm. So Ani is one of the names of Hashem. So when Rabbi Akiva said Imani kan hakol kan, so he was actually referring to God. He was referring to a higher level, and he was referring to God's presence, which was being expressed through the Ani. So that's like we're really saying the same thing, that Rabbi Akiva's Ani was really Ani. But it wasn't what he said. He said Ani because he was so batal, he was so non-existent that when he was pointing to himself, he was pointing to God.
That's what Rabbi Shimon says, like I'm just a tzion.
Nice.
You look at me, you're looking at something which points to Hashem.
Mm-hmm.
It's not me. The big guy.
So the funny thing is that it's not actually something quite serious. But Ani v'hu, that's right. Ani v'hu explains that these two names of Hashem are used when you're trying to do a nace that is in the world of Teva, and a nace that is out of Teva. So
what's a nace?
A miracle.
Oh, nis. Okay.
Yes. But it's Seireh. It's really a good issue. You pronounce it either way.
Everyone else.
Yemenites can pronounce it. Point is that Ani v'hu. So Ani is like Hashem, where He's mamash revealed. He's revealed in the miracle. So it's breaking Teva. It's like I'm everything right now. And then there's the Vahu, where it's Vahu, it's him, it's Malubish and Teva, like Megillas Esther.
Nice.
So when a person is like Rabbi Akiva fulfilled miracles, a lot of miracles. Moshe Rabbeinu fulfilled miracles. But when they reach their point of bittul, complete bittul, so then the miracle can be revealed that Hashem made this miracle.
Complete bittul meaning non-existence.
I realize that my entire existence is Hashem. I'm not gonna hold back. I'm not gonna hold back because I'm not gonna not do something because I don't think it's the right
I had the
thing.
extra cup out.
Well, I know a few people that have gotten super religious after realizing it or Milvado. There's nothing but Hashem.
Yeah, and the notion of freedom in Judaism is a lot different. Yes, when we surrender to Hashem, it's not easy, but there we have freedom. Or not, we are slaves.
To ourselves.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like
But
there's
Moses,
a
this is
happy
the
medium where I
worst.
can be me and enjoy
I know.
being in the presence of God.
Amen.
Why can't
So that's Avraham. Avraham is presence. Avraham is presence. Avraham is connection. Avraham is not bittul.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm
so
fine with that.
so you're fine with that. Okay,
Yeah,
but I want to tell you.
used to not be,
I want to tell you a
I feel like I
secret.
can function in the world.
I want to tell you a
I was
secret.
trying to get rid of
You're gonna
myself.
have a son,
There's a
and your son. So he's gonna be a little bit different than you, and he's gonna always be like into the rules, and he's and he's gonna say, "What have I done? This is like."
Rules. I love rules.
And you're gonna think, that this kid, like, I don't know, he can't be my kid. This must be my wife's fault. And then one day he's gonna come to the same place as you, just from a different place. He's gonna be so into rules that he's gonna be in this meditative state of just not moving, that he gets the same bliss as you get from your chesed. Okay?
Oh yeah, I'm aware of that.
That's mamish what the Berdichever is saying. That really that Yitzchak's avodah. Like,
what does that have to do with me not being a father? Me not being...
well, Yitzchak is also your father, so maybe one day you'll connect more with the avodah of Yitzchak.
Well, I already one day did, and now I just don't anymore.
Okay, it's never too late.
That's why I think I'm bad.
What did that mean you say? You have an issue trying to get rid of yourself all the time?
Well, I used to be very much in like the ego dissolution trip.
Buddhism.
Let me just get rid of any sense of egoic self and individuality.
That's not, I don't think that's
That's
what
what you're saying.
No.
There's a duality.
No, it's not what
I don't think that's what
No.
you're
No, so what is
That
it?
is
Can the one Rabbi here
philosophical
explain to me what you're
quagmire
saying?
in which it is mired in.
Let's do that.
That
He
seems
said-
like contradiction.
So ask what you said again, so you can better explain.
What exactly is bittul, if not getting rid of any sense of individuality?
Surrender.
It's not getting rid of your sense of individuality. It's getting rid of your sense of ego.
What is
In
ego?
fact,
Can you describe
What level of ego? All ego is that?
Extra fat of individuality.
Mhm.
You know,
Seriously, I just want to say that.
Open space.
Teach me all of Torah.
a straight answer. You want a straight answer of what it means to get rid of your ego.
No,
Okay.
so I just, like, people throw around these terms like water. I mean, people don't really throw water a lot.
Yes, I
Throw
will.
around these terms a lot.
Harry throws water.
Absolutely.
He literally threw water.
Okay, so what does it mean? What does it really mean to be in a state of bittul? To be in a state of bittul. So what it means to be in a state of bittul is that I have no expectations from what I'm doing. I have no desire to get something out of it. I have no desire to get to a further place.
There's like some bugs flying in.
But then you have no desire, because why would you do anything if there's...
I'm describing a reality. Don't. If you don't want to do it, so don't do it. I'm just that this is what bittul is. Bittul is this reality that there is nothing besides God. Okay. How do you get to a reason? How do you get to a place of serving Hashem from this? So that's the discussion. But what bittul is, where Yitzchak was, that he was in this place of bliss. He was in this place of ecstasy, that there is nothing besides God, that I am simply a function of my purpose in life. I'm simply a function of what Hashem wants to be in the world, and it seems like something which is completely disorienting. Something which seems like something which is just killing me. Then if it's not me, so like who needs it? And then once I start doing this, so I'm so empowered, I become so little that I'm everything.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, intellectually, that makes no sense whatsoever.
Not only does it make no sense intellectually, it makes no sense emotionally for that first moment. And it's something that, and once you're there, after you break it, and that's why you can't skip there. That's why the Berdichever says that the only way to get to the Bittul is through the Tzimtzum. That once you're used to the first level of Tzimtzum, of Yitzchak, of restraint, and just making boundaries. So then, and once you get used to that, then
you make a cave, a foundation to the other part. This is how I see it.
But that's still only the first level. That's the first level of Tzimtzum. That's the regular Gevurah. The second level of Gevurah is the Bittul, which is once you've mastered the Tzimtzum and you don't think about it anymore, then and only then you're able to take the next step.
So when disciplines and boundaries become habitual,
second nature, yes.
Then you can let go of them and flow within them. Let go. Interesting. So the correct order, the correct sequence of events is in the order of the Avos in the sense. I mean, we haven't gotten to Yaakov yet. I'm sure there's a lot more to say. But
Okay.
We
didn't talk about Yaakov.
Are you going to start with that?
Today?
Can we talk about Yaakov?
Are you going? Well, no, it's just one today. The Chumash.
Right.
Maybe give him a day.
But you know what I thought just now? That Yitzhak, his bad influence, etc., didn't send him out of Israel. You know?
Okay, I know, I didn't talk.
Like, and then
he really
and then he's saying like all his tikkun and his correction didn't include this thing that was go out. You know, he was so into Hashem, like you said, that he didn't needed to go out because here is the Holy Land that you learn everything.
Yes.
So it's very nice.
It's very nice.
Now that it's not romantic, the story.
I want to talk about two last points that the Berdichever talks about that I think they actually complement each other.
Let us all just let the rabbi get through these 2 points, and we can talk. We should talk about this for the whole night. We should have a conference at his new house.
Oh yeah, I have a new house.
Before we all go to your house to talk about this all night, we're going to hear the last 2 points.
Yeah, thank you. I love you.
I'll come more often.
We're all making it.
Give the guy another cup of wine.
Yeah, all right, you know this.
It's new.
So it says like this. It says that Yitzchak was davening opposite. He was davening opposite his wife. Yitzchak was davening. Vayeta Yitzchak lenochach ishta. He was davening lenochach ishta. So he says, what's it mean that Yitzchak was davening lenochach ishta, opposite his wife? So he says that masculine energy and feminine energy are actually opposite energies. That masculine energy, okay, this is not guys versus girls per se, but this is masculine energy versus feminine energy. That masculine energy is mashpia, is the one affecting, and feminine energy is the one receiving. Okay? So we have a problem when that the proper zivug is that the proper way to have children, the proper way to bring children into the world is when you have a proper zivug of the masculine energy with feminine energy. That's the proper way of having a marriage which is going to bring children. So what was the problem? The problem with Yitzchak and Rivka, the reason why they couldn't have children is because that they weren't opposites. Now, what was the opposite? What was the problem? Who wasn't? The Yitzchak was feminine. Okay, it says that he brings from the Arizal that he needed that he was. What do you mean that he was feminine? The Yitzchak was a little bit passive. Okay, Yitzchak was a little bit not being so mashpia, not being affecting affecting the world. Okay, he was the
Playing
one.
chess defensively
He
is
was
a way to
the
lose.
one that his father is almost killing him. That his father's servant finds him a wife. He's the one that everything is happening to him. Everything is happening to him, right? He's being very passive. And this is what the Arizal means, that he has this feminine soul. So as long as he had this feminine soul, and now maybe this is not politically correct, but then what's going to be with me?
No politically correctness in this, please.
So that wasn't a good zivug. So he had to be a man. He had to be a man, and he had to start being active in life. To stop being a person that things are done to him. He needs to start taking control and being the one that goes and decides his own destiny. Okay.
But didn't he take control over the Akeda as well by deciding to submit? Isn't that
submission? That is more of a
feminine
quality. Yes.
But still, he makes an active choice and
active submission and passive submission. It's still, you can make a choice.
Active submission is also feminine. Active submission, that's right. It's not attractive when a girl is a pushover. It's attractive when a girl has a active submission. Okay, so that's what Yitzchak had, but he still wasn't the guy.
Was it still a good zivug, but his
Yosef have that too?
to work on becoming more masculine?
He had to work. Of course, it was a good zivuk. He was our Av, and that's what happened to this week's parsha. That's what
we're supposed to do?
That's what Yitzchak was doing when he was lenochach ishto, when he was being opposite his wife. So you know what he was doing? He was saying, Hashem, please make me into a man. Please make me. I want to be such a guy. I want to be so masculine. Okay, that's what he was. That's what he was davening, and that's what happens. Then that's why in this week's parsha, so he starts taking control. He starts digging wells. He starts sending off Yitzchak, sending off Esav to give him the brachas, and he starts choosing what's going to be.
His father's well.
I'm sorry?
His father's well.
Was his father well? That's
proof that he's
what
incorporate his father's.
we heard at the beginning where we're talking about that, that when you go in your father's ways, you're doing even more than if you do something the first time. Okay, so that's what it means. That's what it means. Lenochach ishto, that he was turning from this feminine, passive, submissive personality into a person that's active, and that's what made the zivug possible, and that's what brought Yaakov and Esav. That's what Yitzchak was really doing when he was davening, is that he was making the switch in order that he should have this masculine energy of being active. Now, at the very end of the parsha, so once Yitzchak, so he accidentally, so to speak, gives a bracha to Yaakov, and he didn't realize he was doing it. And then once he realized what was happening, once he realized what had happened, so he says, Gam Baruch Yehiyah. Gam Baruch Yehiyah. Okay, what does it mean? What does it mean Gam Baruch Yehiyah? So the Berdichever says like this, that there's two brachas that we have. There's two brachas that we have in this week's parsha. That Yitzchak gives a bracha to Yaakov twice in this week's parsha. One is when he thought he was Esav, and that's the big bracha. That's the long bracha. And then at the very end of the parsha, he gives him another bracha. Before he runs away, he realizes that Esav wants to kill him, and he gives him another bracha that V'yitan Lacha at Birkat Avraham, that he gives him a short bracha. So, what's the difference between these two brachas? So he writes that the bracha of V'yitan Lacha is a bracha of Olam Hazeh. It's a bracha of having amazing gashmias, amazing wealth, amazing, just like everything, just physically amazing houses, amazing food, and the bracha of Olam Hazeh, so was actually being saved for Yimot HaMashiach. It's being saved for the end of days. what's going to accompany Yaakov, what's going to accompany the Jewish people throughout history is not going to be, like, it didn't work, right? We didn't, throughout history, we have not had Mital Shemaim and Shemaim Haaretz. We have had Birkat Avraham. We have that the bracha that we will never forsake our heritage, that we're always going to be Abraham's children. Okay, that bracha, the bracha that he gave him at the end, that short bracha, that lasted forever. Okay, the first bracha, the Gashmias bracha, the material bracha, so that is saved for Mashiach. The short bracha, that we have our values, we have our identity, so that's the short bracha staying. That's even in the Galut. Okay, so now he says like this, that Bayam Hahu Yihiyeh Hashem Achad. Okay, so what does it mean Yihiyeh Hashem Achad? So the name of Hashem has two parts, Yud-Kei and Vav-Kei. Okay, the Yud-Kei, so that is the masculine part. The Vav-Kei is the feminine part. Okay, so the Yud-Kei, that represents that Hashem's presence as is expressed by Him. Vav-Kei represents Hashem's presence as it's expressed by us. Okay, so now the entire Galut is an expression of the fact that we aren't able to express Hashem's glory. Okay, so in the Galut, so the Vav-Kei is hidden. Right? That's what we say. Ki yad al keis ka. Right? That when a Malek is in control, so then the name of God is only Yud-Kei. It's lacking Vav-Kei. Okay? And Hakiseh Shalem and Hashem Shalem. So the Arizal writes that Bayom Hahu Yihyeh Hashem Havaya. That when Mashiach comes, so instead of having Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, the level of Vav-Kei will be the same level of Yud-Kei. That's Yihyeh. Yihyeh is Yud-Kei. It will be twice, meaning that the expression given by us will be the very same expression as given by Hashem. Such so that the Galut won't be able to touch it. Galut won't be able to at all hinge the taint, the shine of that Hashem wants to be in this world. So that's what it means. That's what it means. That Gam Baruch Yihiyeh. That Yihiyeh is future tense. Future tense is that's when Mashiach comes. When Mashiach comes, it's going to be Yihiyeh Yud-Kei. Okay, in this world, the best that we can get is Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. There's going to be Hashem's higher level, the lower level, but the lower level is up to us. So if we mess up, so the Vav-Kei is the feminine part. Vav-Kei is our part, which is the feminine part, which when we're in Galut, when we're in exile, so it's hidden, it's not expressed. And the tikkun is that when Mashiach comes, so it's going to be Yihiyeh. It's going to
the Chida writes on. The Chida writes on that Arizal said that essentially Vav-Kei is feminine, but the Vav is the masculine within the feminine.
Right.
And in Yud and Hey, the Yud actually fits in the Hey.
Mm-hmm.
The job of the Yud and the Hey is the Yud comes to join that missing space, and they become a Ches, which is the marriage between a Chas and a Gal, the Chuppah. Now the issue is that when you come lower into the worlds, like in Yitzira, and you're dealing with emotions, so the masculine is like a Vav. There's no real place for the Vav in the Hey, because the Vav is covering over her Yud at the bottom. And it's not exactly perfect. And that's the dissonance that exists between ourselves and between husband and wives.
Right.
So when Mashiach will truly be revealed in the world, Yihiyeh is finally that Vav, we will be able to be batal to the woman.
Mamash. I'm not thinking the same thing. That what does it mean for Vav to turn to the Yud? For Vav to turn to Yud means for the feminine to turn to the masculine. How does the feminine turn to the masculine? By being bittul. When the Vav turns, when the Vav gets the complete bittul, that's going to be when Havaya turns into Yihiyeh. That's when the feminine is not just submissive but non-existent. And that's the highest level. That's the bittul that becomes that that you're struggling with, that's when it becomes Yehiyah, that the only thing is Hashem's presence. That it's not.
Isn't it said though
Right.
that isn't it said though that during times of Mashiach the woman's light will be able to shine like the brightest and be able to be seen?
Which is what
That's precisely what we're saying. That's precisely what we're saying. That the Vav is going to turn into a Yud. That the feminine light is going to be so great that it's going to be Hashem's light. It's not going to be that I'm submitting to something else and just reflecting. It's going to be that complete bittul, complete negation. Complete negation. That's what it means when the Vav turns into Yud. Understand?
It makes like this and
Could you repeat again?
Vav represents the feminine energy.
Yes.
The Vav, Hashem's name is Yud Kei Vav Kei, and it says that when Mashiach comes, it's going to turn from Yud Kei Vav Kei until Yihiyeh, Yud Kei Yud Kei. Okay, Yud Kei is the masculine. That means the feminine is going to turn to the masculine. Okay, that's Yitzchak's avodah, to turn from this feminine into this masculine, right?
Well, the masculine also.
And how's he doing that? How's he turning the feminine into the masculine? Through negation, through that I completely don't exist, so I am simply a function of what's higher than me. Okay, that's the biggest tikkun. That's the biggest tikkun. That's the paradox of negation. That's the paradox of non-existence. That I think that I'm throwing out my submission. I think that I'm a nobody, and at the moment that I'm negating to the greatest light, so then I become everything. Okay, and that's the light which is going to really be forever. That there's no galut, there's no exile, there's no evil that can at all taint the light of the bittul. Okay, that's how powerful it is. So,
but to capitalize, it's because of the final hay that shines, the feminine of feminine.
Mm-hmm.
The final hay shines so much that it actually, there's the dot becomes a mafik hay, so instead of it's that we actually pronounce the feminine. Instead of there just being like ata, it'd be atah. And that causes the vav, that causes the masculine within the masculine and the masculine within the feminine to see the feminine as the feminine and turn into the yod. So that's the idea that she shines so much that she causes the vav to turn into the yod.
Anyway, I bless us all that we should be able to completely forget about ourselves.
Amen.
To be able to completely just to be functions of Hashem's masculine light that's shining through us, shining within us, shining between us, and to know that the more that we forget about ourselves, the greater we're going to shine, the greater we're going to exist, the more presence we're going to have, and we're really not losing it all. Thank you.
You know what's interesting?